Welcome to our almost weekly movie talk with my good friend Sean. Hello, Sean.
What's up?
Yeah, and this week we're finally coming around to talk all three Punisher movies.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's always funny with the Punisher. I absolutely love the character. But most of the Punisher stuff I read was in the 90s. In I think in the German Spider-Man comics, they always had this digit-sized uh, trade paperback format, and there was always like a Spider-Man story, and then you had two backup stories, sometimes with the Punisher, sometimes Ghost Rider, and I always enjoyed reading those. But I haven't really read anything in the 2000s. A little bit from the Chuck Dixon stuff, but the only recent Punisher stuff I read was in Savage Avengers and Punisher Kill Crew, which is awesome and way better than it has any right to be.
What's up, Lasso?
Hey, Lasso, thanks for coming. Um,
I'm a huge fan of the Punisher. I don't even have it next to me, but I have the first appearance, 129 ASM. It's one of my favorite characters, and I brought this out because this is the Punisher run that everybody should read. The Garth Ennis run, starting here with Welcome Back, Frank, and some of this was actually used in the Thomas Jane movie.
yeah,
The
and they also
Russian and
use
all
some
that.
of the Dixon stuff, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
but this
downright.
it's up downright, and of course, Warzone uses a lot of Max. With the ultra violent
Yeah,
style. You know, I can't wait to dig into these movies because there's a
I mean,
lot to talk about.
Garth Ennis is basically somebody who was born to write the Punisher with
Yeah,
his hatred for superheroes, for capes, and his love for street level.
man,
Yeah,
what he did to Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk and Daredevil was one of the most hilarious reads of all time. Like every time I see what he did to Wolverine was I was like, damn, Marvel allowed this. Yep.
yeah, John Berntal is really an awesome Punisher. I absolutely loved his. His appearance in the I think it was the second Daredevil season, and then absolutely loved the first Punisher season. But
Yeah,
today we're just going to talk about the movies.
yeah. Maybe we could do the Netflix
Yeah,
shows another time.
exactly. Because I think there's a lot of to get in depth to. Because I think it's one of the best portrayals of PTSD we have seen so far in TV, and you can truly tell that they knew what they were writing about. Like phenomenal first season. I haven't watched. I haven't finished the second season because it started so boring.
The second season has issues. It
Mm,
has issues. Awesome.
nice. Yes, hopefully cons will come back one day for like in the way they were before the whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the movies. I think we should start with the first one, Dolph Lundgren Punisher, which is actually my favorite Punisher movie. Yeah, I just think it's first of all, it was done in a time that was just perfect for action movies. It was done in the last year of the 80s, and the director, Mark Goldblatt, he has only directed, I think, two or three movies or something, but he's such a talented cinematographer. He was worked on a lot of stuff with James Cameron. Like a lot of movies you love. Probably the cinematography was done by Mark Goldblatt, and the cutting, I think, or the editing and stuff. Yeah, he's like very talented and genius, and I think he also made a very good Punisher movie as a director. and I think it's when you look at all three Punisher movies, I think it's the one that has one mood in most coherent. Like you don't have a lot of humor in it. It's really it's dark, it's gritty, it feels dirty. Yeah.
I agree with that. You know, this is probably the dirtiest out of the three movies, especially in the time era that it was made, where you had a lot of dirt nasty videos and stuff like that. So it's definitely the dirtiest looking in terms of how it was made and the style and the camera work. There's lots of scenes with like fog behind you, each character. Like this smoke and this fear of dread in it. And I thought Dolph did a decent job as the Punisher. He's not my favorite. He was my favorite growing up because it was the only one we had. But I just felt he was just playing this character just to play him. Like he didn't really show much emotion, and the Punisher don't show emotion, but I just felt like it was Dolph acting like Dolph. Sometimes he would slur his words, and part of it is due to his English. It wasn't the best, but that's why he had limited dialogue, because Punisher ain't supposed to have a lot of dialogue. I even mentioned this when Greatest Notes reviewed the movie. I was like, Punisher's not the type that has a lot of dialogue and shows a lot of emotion. But for what this movie was, it was a solid flick. The story is not something that I would say is the best. Like, it's very bare bones. It pretty much focuses on the mafia and the Yakuza, and the Yakuza wants to take over the mafia's role as top tier. And I did love the lady who played the head of the Yakuza. I thought she was fantastic. She was the best villain of the movie.
Like Kim Miyori as Lady Tanaka, that was so awesome.
Yeah, I love her portrayal.
Dolph Lundgren is my favorite Punisher because I actually really like his stoic portrayal of the Punisher. And the one thing with Dolph Lundgren is, for me, he's not typecast. In that sense, that it's like you see Ivan Drago playing the Punisher, or you see He-Man playing the Punisher. What I love about Dolph Lundgren is I just feel for me he's a good friend cast, and I really think he's getting into it, and the stoic way he's portraying him is very fitting. When you compared, like, I absolutely love Ray Stevenson. Ray Stevenson is one of my favorite actors because Rome is my favorite series of all time. But for me, he's always Titus Pullo. So I see Titus Pullo playing the Punisher.
I see Draco playing the Punisher when Dolph is, just with black hair, I'm just waiting for him to say, "I will break you" in this movie, man.
If he dies, he dies.
Exactly. And that's the best line he had in the movie was when Lou Gossett asked him, the question, he like, what do you call this? 200, 100 and something kills. What do you call that? A work in progress. Best line of the movie, man, because that's what it was. There's a work in progress.
Really fantastic. But like for me, like I said, when I'm seeing it, I see him really as the Punisher. So absolutely love his portrayal, and like as you said, Kim Miyori as Lady Tanaka, such a fantastic role. But also the mafia boss, Gianni Franco, who was portrayed by the French actor Jérôme Crabet, or whatever how you pronounce that.
Isn't he Dutch?
I think Jérôme Crabet. I think it's French, but there's Dutch people, French Dutch people, and French Belgian people. Is like
I never really took him serious because he always plays that slimy wannabe do-gooder, but at the same time he's bad, and like you don't really buy him as a bad guy. And I think The Living Daylights had me feel like that with him when he was in that with James Bond, and he's just always kissing up to Bond and his superiors and stuff, but then he turned out to be a bad guy. But he still acted like this creepy, this dude that you can't really take serious. And while he played okay in this movie, I didn't see him as a mob boss.
I really like his portrayal because especially I laughed about it when you can really see, okay, it's like his son in there and the other kids. So his fatherly side really came through. So he was about to make like a very like a deal with the Punisher to get through it. Of course, the Punisher kills him in the end. But
That I love. We'll talk about that when we come to it.
that's like a really powerful scene. And what I absolutely love about this movie is the fight choreography, especially when they are fighting then with the Yakuza, where also Dolph has the knife in his shoe. Uh, this is such a great art style. The colors of the red and white.
Yeah,
And when the light goes off, this is so aesthetic. It's one of my favorite fight scenes in comic book movies. And the other fight choreography was really well done and also very raw, gritty. Like there was not a lot of dancing around. There was like this is like one of my issues I have with Punisher Warzone. Punisher Warzone is a little bit too. There was too much dancing around. There was too much aesthetics in killing. Like the Punisher was enjoying it a little bit too much, while Dolph Lundgren was really just very. He was totally like goal oriented. Like he was always on target. Like I'm gonna kill this guy and I'm gonna kill him like in the easiest way possible because I just want to have him gone and like it's like this zero bullshit attitude I love about Dolph.
I love Punisher just smoking fools in Warzone so much that I did not mind that. When I could get violence like this, that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to see. Somebody's head get blown completely off like that, man. The top half. He gave him a
Warzone
haircut.
very comic accurate, but I think in terms of one coherent story and especially like to have like a tone from the beginning to the end of the movie, which feels like it was like done in one stroke. I think that the first Punisher is the best one in that sense. It's like you're having a 90-minute movie that is enjoyable from beginning to end. There's no lengths in it, and the movie may not invent the wheel. It pretty much is a revenge mafia movie. Like it feels like it's a script that was laying around for long in Hollywood, and then just somebody was, oh, we have the Punisher rights, just put the Punisher in it. But
Yeah.
it works so well.
Well, like I said, my disappointment with it was how they utilized Lou Gossett Jr. I felt that he could have been used a lot more, considering the
Yeah.
actor that he is, and
Such a fantastic actor, yeah.
he basically is like second, third fiddle, and even they underutilized him when they introduced his new partner, and she was able to figure out, where the Punisher is hiding when he's been tracking him down for years. So it's almost like, they didn't know what to do with his character. They tried to have him be like this former friend of Frank Castle, and to be the one that's trying to search for him, to try and bring him back, pull him back to reality. But it was so underutilized and so disappointing that you felt like he could have done a lot more as a character in this movie.
It totally felt that this character had a bigger part like in the first draft of the script, and this part got lower in the last draft. So, and they already probably cast him with Louis Gossett Jr. He's a fantastic actor, and even though he has such a little part in the movie, he's adding a lot of gravitas to it. I also
Yeah.
think they casted him because they wanted probably to have a very matured and talented actor next to Dolph Lundgren, who of course at that point was still very new to Hollywood.
Yeah, I agree. And plus, they want to have an established name and they're a
Yeah.
veteran actor. But with his acting ability, he did the best he could with what they give him. because every scene he's in, he always does a good job with it. It's just that it's not much that his character can do. But you
It's
know,
like
he
I
just
said,
have.
yeah, underutilized. So but on the other hand, it's like I'm really happy that this movie is 90 minutes long, and you can only do so much in 90 minutes. And for that, I think it's most certainly for me the most rewatchable Punisher movie.
Yeah, no, and I definitely enjoy the movie despite its flaws. Like, and all three Punisher movies has flaws. You know, ain't no perfect movie
Yeah,
in and out. You know, all three of them has flaws, but
I,
you know, for
I
this
think
being the first, and you know, with it being Dolph Lundgren, it still was a fun flick. You know, and another thing that I really I like the score. I liked the music. You know,
this score was nice, but there's one criticism I have with all three Punisher movies. Like none of these movies was able to establish a theme for the Punisher that immediately comes in your head when you hear Punisher.
true.
This core is really well crafted to every scene. Like every scene has a very atmospheric and fitting score, but there's no score that really sticks with you after you finish the movie. Like I couldn't recall like any melody from either of the movies right now.
No, this is the only one where I remember that theme song that played at the beginning. You know, I love the intro with the targets
The
going through
intro
the
is very
targets and showing all the bodies and stuff like that. I really liked it that, and the music complemented it so well.
yeah.
You know, so that was this is probably the best of the three movies when it came to at least having a theme that
Yes.
just fitted with the
Totally
with the
agree. I
character.
totally agree with that. And this is also what I really love about the first movie, which also before we go into the second one, what I think is a very good uh, like a very good transmission is I love that this movie basically told the whole origin just in a news report. There was no wasting time on his origin, and they could they were able to go totally into the movie because my biggest problem with the Thomas Jane Punisher, which is in my opinion the weakest of these three, is they wasted half an hour on the origin, and I think it's almost like 15 minutes when you see his wife and son run away, and everybody knows they're gonna die. So there was like no rooting for them. It's like we know what's going to happen. Like even if you're not a comic crack, even if you have like heard about the Punisher a few times, even you know there's a reason for him to become the Punisher. So there was no way these are getting out alive. Even though I must say I was very happy to see Roy Scheider as Frank Castle Sr.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Hey,
So,
Werewolf Belange, the user with probably the best name in the whole community.
got old comic smell.
Yeah.
But since we are transitioning to the next movie, Thomas Jane, John Travolta, Punisher. Like you said, the origin takes up about a good half an hour and stuff, and even before that, you know, you get to see the introduction of Frank Castle as this undercover agent, you know,
Yeah.
speaking in this European accent, you know, with the blonde wig on, and you know, at first it's kind of comical, you know, when you see it, and you know, he fakes his death, you know, and one of the gangsters in there died, and one of the gangsters turned out to be Travolta's son in the movie. So, long story short, they found out that Frank is alive, you know, that he was an undercover agent, and that, you know, he's with his family in Tampa. So he sent all his men down there, and they just completely wiped out almost the entire castle. Like it's beyond what the comic. Like the comic, you know, you just know that he lost his wife and two kids. Here they like, nah, we're gonna take out. Yeah, family reunion. We're gonna take the whole damn family out. We don't give a fuck. Take the the mother, the father, the uncle, the aunts. They taking out everybody, kids. And I was like, that was the thing that, as much as I didn't like the original taking up so much time, I do think it was shot well that whole sequence of them just coming in there and
Yeah.
taking out the
They
whole
should
family.
only they should only probably have trimmed it down to 5 minutes where you see the massacre and then
Hmm.
see that how they killed, like how they attempted to kill Frank Castle, which was very well done. I also like because there's one thing with Hollywood. Hollywood seems to have a problem that a guy has a death skull on his T-shirt, so they always try to find an excuse not to have it or to find a good excuse why there is a skull. And you see it with the stingrays, like how they colored like the T-shirt, and that it was like more accidental that it looked like Death's skull.
At least the skull was introduced earlier in here. Like I would say within an hour.
Yeah,
But after that, they thought they killed Frank. And he obviously survived. And you start to see this weird transition to just him creating this character of the Punisher and getting things ready, forming up his souped up vehicle and getting guns. And I was like, it kind of felt all of a sudden, like he just comes back and all of a sudden now he's just out for vengeance. And I think that's one of the reasons why this didn't work, is because at least with Warzone and the first Punisher, Dolph Lundgren, after his family died, we don't see him for years until he comes back as the Punisher. He
yeah,
comes back as the Punisher for after a while. Here we get to see his development and his transformation into the Punisher, but it just didn't feel as connected. Like we didn't need to see all that. We
It's
didn't
like
need to see all that for me. Like for me, I just want to see, this disappearance, and then he just come back and start taking out members, and then we get to see that it's actually him.
yeah. John Travolta. Actually, I like
Right.
John Travolta as an actor, especially in Face Off. He's awesome in Face Off. I also must say that he was very. Well, I've read that he was like very nice with this movie. He was giving up to top billing because he said, "Okay, Thomas Jane is playing the main role, and the main role should get top billing." So apparently, he was very nice to be around the set, but he was quite of he was more he was a dull villain. I think it would have been better if he would be playing the second fiddle as a villain. There would be a villain over him, but there was just something missing. It was a little bit too one-sided.
He wasn't the over the top villain that Maguchi was in this first Punisher arc. Maguchi in this Welcome Back Frank series is an over the top villain, and when you see her, she got the wig on and stuff like that, and she just epitomized one of them over the top villains that you want to see in these type of movies. And John Travolta just felt like that stiff blonde gangster that didn't really stand out in the movie. He came off as kind of boring, and like the only scenes that actually were pretty decent was when Punisher set up his whole family with the whole love thing with his best friend and his wife. And we got to see a little hint of crazy Travolta, with that, but outside of that, he was kind of bland in this movie.
Yeah, I also think that the script didn't do it any favor. So I wouldn't even give him like a total blame for it. I think the script in general was very dull, and my biggest problem with this movie, which I have experienced this time even more, because this time for the first time I watched the extended edition. And when I watched the movie for the first time when it came out, I think it was already too long, being 123 minutes. But with the extended edition being 139 minutes, I almost felt twice asleep while watching it. It
Yeah, that's
is
a bit
like
too long for this movie.
it's like watching a whole season of a series. Uh, and the pity is because there are some really fantastic scenes in it, but the movie is just it takes too long, and I think that's that was a big mistake by the director Jonathan Hensley, because you can see the art of a true director is by telling a compelling story within 90 or 100 minutes. That's for me is what a true good director can do. The longer a director takes to tell a story, I think it's more of a weakness. Of course, this doesn't count for movies like Lord of the Rings, like true epic sagas, but a Punisher story should, in my opinion, always be told between 90 and 100 minutes.
You know why this movie is long? Because they did the origin. They want to focus on someone Travolta, but they also introduced the three characters from this book, and that is Joan, Mr. Bumpo, and Dave Sparkus. And outside of maybe one scene, everything else felt rudimentary. It did not. I felt like it extended the movie to the point where I didn't really need to see them a lot. You know, like they could have trimmed down some of their scenes and I would have been fine with it. But because they want to adopt some of this book into the movie, they needed to show a lot of them, especially when they get to the lead up of the Russian coming involved and, you know, the whole torture of Spock. They had to show a lot of them, but I felt like they extended the movie longer than it should have been by having them be some of the focus in the middle of the movie.
Totally. When I was rewatching the movie last week, and then like finally Kevin Nash as the Russian came, and I was like, oh, finally. That fight was so well done. That fight deserved a better movie.
You know what part was underrated and I felt could have been a little bit longer? The guy with the guitar. Come in, he plays that song, and he tells him that I'm gonna sing that at your funeral, and then he come chasing after him. Man, I felt that I could have seen at least an extra 5 minutes of those two going at it, because that could have been just as good.
I heard that they cut this short because the character had a similar name to Billy Bob Thornton, and they didn't want to do. Somehow it's strange, but also that was I felt like, oh my god, that's an interesting character. Like I wonder where this leads to.
Didn't go nowhere. They ended it so quick. I was like, damn, I thought we could have got something out of it, some mileage out of that. Because I immediately thought of Desperado, you know, with Antonio Banderas with the playing guitar and stuff like that. I was like, that's what came to mind. I was like, oh, we're gonna get this epic showdown between these two characters, and it was over with within a matter of seconds. I was like, wow, you know, we ain't getting nothing. While the Russian fight was longer than that.
People admire is usually the comic blend art behind your back.
Yeah, the California blend. I can't wait till you get yours, man.
Check out Instagram. She is a fantastic artist, and you gotta be quick because the pictures are going sold out very fast.
Yeah, I was fortunate with that recent Static Shock one.
Yeah, the fight between him and the Russian. I mean, first of all, Kevin Nash, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Not the most talented man in the ring, but a guy with charisma and an awesome attitude.
Here's the Russian in the comic.
Yeah.
Here's what the Russian does.
Yeah.
You know, yo, what's up, Jeff? He has so much personality in the comic, you know, whereas Kevin Nash has charisma, but they didn't utilize it. You know, all they did was utilize his facial expressions. But, you know, I mean, Punisher was using everything against him, and, you know, Russian just no-selling it, like, what's that, you know? He's just beating the Punisher down.
Like, the fight was... That was one of the fights where you really felt the pain watching it.
Yeah. This part here...
They shot this fight over 2 days, so they put a lot of effort in that one.
Yeah, and it was a great fight, you know. I mean, they just tore. I damn thought they was gonna tear the whole building down with the way that was going, because that building was so cheaply made and stuff. They was going through from room to room, And every time Punisher pulls out a hidden gun or a hidden weapon, man, Russell just counters it. He crushes the gun barrel, and Punisher's like, God dang.
Yeah. No, that was really well done, and you also know that that Kevin Nash had his hair match against Chris Jericho because he had to cut his hair for this movie, so they had to introduce it, of course, in the wrestling storyline, with kayfabe being still around a little bit back then.
Yeah, it was fun,
Yeah, but
man.
also like the fight, I think Kevin Nash was very well, and also Shane sold the fight very well, but I think that Thomas Jane was miscast as the Punisher. He's way too sympathetic and way too nice.
Yeah,
Like
that was my biggest criticism of the movie, is that I felt like Thomas Jane, as good of an actor he is, was miscast because he didn't look like a true badass Punisher.
I love him in Deep Blue Sea, and in other roles he's also good.
I like him as an actor, but I felt he was miscast for this movie.
Yes.
When you look at Dolph Lundgren and Ray Stevenson, they just look like imposing, badass figures that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, and you see like the pain in their eyes, and it's like you can really see that they lost every regard for the life of low lives. But with Thomas Jane, he almost didn't felt that he was traumatized by the death of his whole fucking family. So he was still having too much. He has like this gentle aura, and he almost himself didn't want to play the movie because he didn't see himself in the role of a hero, even though, of course, the Punisher is more of a vigilante than a hero.
Yeah, anti-hero, like.
Yeah.
But, I like Thomas Jane, but that was my biggest criticism of the movie, and that's why it's been a while since I've watched it, was because I just felt that he looks great on this cover. I mean, no doubt about it. He looked great with the skull and stuff. But his look did not match the Punisher's look. And that was why I didn't particularly like the movie then. And he's my third Punisher. Actually, fourth if you put Bernthal ahead of him. So.
But that's what when I rewatched the movie, I also was like, hey, that's where you're from.
Yeah.
Florida. Oh yeah, this was also a thing. I don't think that the Florida setting.
No, it did not work.
It didn't work. It's like,
it did not work for me.
For me, Punisher is city crime, dirty. It's just gritty, and this is what the Dolph Lundgren Punisher and the Ray Stevens Punisher did way better. Especially since like in the hideouts. I mean, this one scene in the first Punisher where Dolph Lundgren is basically on the shrine, like being fully naked, but you also see, of course, all the dirt on him because the most of the day he's like killing people and being in the underground.
Yeah, you probably never showered, man.
Yeah. It's like the best thing is like probably as a gangster is like when you smell it's like I think the Punisher is around.
Yeah, but the Tampa Southern did this movie real no favors, and
was there any reason why they shot it there?
They couldn't. Warzone wasn't shot in New York neither. That was shot somewhere in Canada, I think. They just used the city elements to still make it gritty. But I just think New York wouldn't allow it, at this time for them to shoot it there. Plus, expenses and all that stuff. They just felt it cheaper to shoot in Tampa.
Bless Canada. It's always cheaper. Yeah, they also shot the RoboCop series in Canada because it's cheaper there.
So after the whole Russian fight is when, before that, Punisher starts making this setup of his right hand of Travolta's right hand man, the top hitman, who's portrayed as gay in the movie.
Yeah,
he tries to set that up by saying that he's going out and cheating with his wife, and he put it all together. Parks the wife's car in front of the hotel, sends him the hitman to the hotel, and the wife gets a ticket there, so that automatically alerts Travolta when he finds out later that she was there with him, and that's what led to the whole I'm gonna take out my best friend and I'm gonna take out my own wife in the worst way, just throw her off a bridge into an oncoming train. So I was like, damn, that's savage.
I really like the idea and the planning behind this. I think this all read very well on script, and it's a very good plan. But when I watch a Punisher movie, I wanna see the Punisher taking people out.
Yeah, it definitely felt unpunisher like.
Yeah,
It didn't feel like something that he would actually plot, because he's only plotting to kill, but he wouldn't plot to, mess with him psychology wise and have him turn against his family. But that was his whole ordeal, was to have him turn against his own family as opposed to just going straight up kill. He like, I want you to suffer just as much as I suffer.
it was well written. It was really well written.
Yeah.
I think it functioned in another movie. But like I said, it's like I want to see the Punisher wreak havoc against the underworld. And what I think one of the silliest things in the Chain Punisher is in the end when when he burns him, that he takes the effort that the Punisher's skull is visible from the sky.
That was a far reach for me.
Yeah, I don't see the type of guy that would go to this length.
I mean, when he was putting the bombs on all the cars, like, did he actually did all the symmetrics and the calculations?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this will create a skull if I do this. I'm like, nah, that's a far reach for me. It's a cool visual. It's a cool visual, but I'm like, hell no, hey, that's a lot of effort for you to actually map this out to say, oh, this will create the Punisher skull.
Like, John Travolta is not worth that effort.
No, just put a bullet in his dome and be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Overall, though, like I said, it's not my favorite. It's the least favorite out of the three movies, but it's not bad. But like I said, it's not something that I will watch. I will only watch a couple of scenes from this movie. The Russian fight, the showdown with the guy in the car with the guitar, and I did like that scene where he threw the money out the window, and the guys was coming and they immediately confront him in the hallway, and you remember those two guys from when they're killing the Punisher family, so it was great to see them get theirs. I felt like that scene was really good, like how it was filmed and stuff. You finally get to see the skull, and Thomas Jane did look like a badass at that point, because the skull and the black jacket and him having that showdown with those two guys was great.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, it's just a few scenes. What you say?
Jim said he was trying to watch Warzone last weekend but didn't get to finish. You better have a good excuse for not finishing the movie because this one is an awesome movie.
Sure, I basically finished the movie for him if he saw my story. Some people say, damn, I've never seen this movie, man.
Yeah, but that's still a little bit longer with Thomas Jane because there's also a short movie from 2012, Punisher Dirty Laundry, where Thomas Jane came back portraying the Punisher in a 9-minute long short movie, which is, of course, it's 9 minutes long. It's way better than this one. For me, he's still too sympathetic, but it's a very good portrayal.
Yeah. So you ready to go to war?
I'm always ready for it. I'm German. Like, hello. Yay. I think we might even have the same edition because it's all regions.
Turn yours around again. Oh, we got a different back.
Yeah, of course, here is in German, but it seems that it's just like a little bit of a repack. Yeah, Punisher also, like I said, Ray Stevens.
This movie is what every Punisher fan wanted to see. Punisher balls the walls, just going out there and slaying criminals and looking like the boogeyman doing it. You know, because that's what the Punisher is to these villains. The boogeyman. You know, he's the guy that comes out and, you know, hunts you down and kills you. And
it's like the Punisher is not known for having a very large rogues gallery because he's fucking killing them.
He's like fuck. If the Joker was in the Punisher's universe, he would have been dead in the first appearance. First appearance of Joker, last appearance of Joker, because he ain't wasting his time with this guy. You know, and that's the thing I love about the Punisher is that he don't have a rogue guy because he don't need a rogue guy. He kills them. He exterminates them.
Care of things.
Yeah, he gets the job done. If you a bad guy and you committing crimes, you killing innocent people, fuck the jury, fuck the judge. You know, he's the executioner. He's taking you out.
Yeah.
And this is what I always wanted in my Punisher flick. Just the straight up serious character that just goes in there and gets the job done.
I don't understand how this is the lowest grossing Marvel movie of all time. This movie is better than 90% of the shit they put out in the MCU.
I love it. That's why it was on that list I did.
People, this movie is a masterpiece.
I mean, it has everything you want for a Punisher movie. Over the top violence. I mean, who gets stabbed in the eye with the leg of a chair? Really?
One of my favorite scenes in this movie is when he takes out the granite and pulls it in the can and kicks the can out, and you see the bad guy looking at the can just like.
It was about, I mean, Punisher was just killing fools with no mercy, and that's what the Punisher is. You know, he shows no remorse to anybody who's against the innocent and who commits crimes and is a big drug lord. And that's what I like about it. It felt like I was reading the comics with this. You know, it felt like I was reading the Garth Ennis comics. I was reading the 90s comics, you know, with his stare. You know, Punisher always had that stare that, you know, like when he give you that look, you dead. Instantly. You might as well just shoot yourself because you don't want the Punisher shooting you. That's how serious this movie was in terms of just straight up violence. You know, this is the Punisher I look for. Ray Stevenson is in my opinion, the best Punisher because of his intimidating look. He has that imposing figure to him. You know, he'll kill you and not have no remorse outside of the agent. You know, that the only thing in the movie that kind of sets it back a bit is that they threw that element where he killed the undercover agent and he started having regrets, you know, and that's where his emotion shows because he killed somebody who has a family, you know, and you know this is also the movie that introduces microchip, you know, which was lacking in the last two movies. No microchip. The first Dolph Lundgren movie had this vagrant play Punisher's sidekick, and it's like even Comic Head 84 didn't care for that. I didn't really neither because that whole thing where he lured him into the alley with the damn beer and on the little truck. I was like, that was a bit cheesy. I didn't mention that earlier, but that was cheesy.
I have to agree to that.
That was cheesy. But this one actually has microchip in it. Even if he's not in it for a long period, at least he's there to say, yeah, I helped the Punisher out.
And also, I mean, microchip is played by Wayne Knight. Newman! And Dennis Nedry in Jurassic Park, of course, like a wonderful actor. This is so strange for me because of this movie. This movie is, on the one side, you have fantastic actors, but every actor that isn't good is really bad. So you don't have a lot of mediocre actors. You either have very good actors, of course, like Ray Stevenson does a great job. Then Dominic West as Jigsaw. I mean, the origin of Jigsaw. It hurts. It was so well done.
I don't even know what makeup they used to put stuff on his face for that. I was like, his face was completely shredded.
Great. I mean, Dominic West said this was the first time that he worked with prosthetics, and it is the last time he will ever work with prosthetics. But I absolutely love the makeup. I'm so happy they went practical with it. Beautiful. Then he also has Colin Salmon as Paul Budiansky. The one FBI agent that that was like tracking down Frank Castle and later worked with him. Fantastic actor.
Yep.
Absolutely, he was in one of the what's he was in a fantastic British series that was sort of like Arrested Development, and he was amazing in there. And it's very
My favorite scene with him is when Punisher shot that dude in the head with the shotgun. God damn it! I love that. Just his reaction was
he
awesome.
was ready to arrest him, and the Punisher was nope.
I love that.
And of course, you also have Julie Benz as Angela, the widow of the killed undercover FBI agent. Julie Benz is always a sight for sore eyes. And in a very small role as part of the meth head who was the parkour guy, Machinti, was TJ Storm. TJ Storm was one of Conan's comrades in the Conan the Adventurer TV series. So we also have like also of course like a Conan part in this movie.
Oh man.
Yeah, like so many great actors, but everyone who isn't like a named actor is really subpar. So
Well,
there's like
I thought the dude who plays Soap was accurate to the comics though. Soap is just a weasel cop that in over his head. All he does is occasionally help the Punisher because he don't want no part of dealing with them. And that's the thing I liked about it. Even though his partner at the beginning, you know, he confronts the Punisher, he tells the Punisher where the bad guys are going, you know, and stuff like they like fuck this shit. He's doing our job, man. He's wiping the floor with all these guys. Why should we even want to stop him? You know? Oh man, I love this fucking movie, man.
As well. And like the one scene you also shared on Instagram yesterday, where's also it's one of the one it's like before TJ Storm's character dies, is when they're parkouring over the roof and the Punisher takes one out with a cruise missile or something, like with a tank destroyer.
I remember when I first watched that was all out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit, he blew a parkour dude up with a missile launcher. That shit was hilarious.
Like, fuck all of you, but especially you.
And then the other guys were so dumbfounded, they could have ran, but they were so shocked at what happened, they just got...
Yeah, like, I mean, imagine you're doing a sport or somewhere and suddenly somebody gets blown up by a rocket launcher.
Oh, man. Oh man, I feel like watching it again, man. That's how much I enjoyed it because it's just so over the top with its violence and stuff. And this was directed by a female, Lexi Alexander. She directed.
Oh yeah, I was today years old when I found out that the director is a female.
Yeah, that makes it even better.
In Mannheim, I think.
Yeah, that makes it even better that she was a female and that she gave no fuck. She was gonna go hardcore with it. You know, I gained more respect for the movie because it just felt like the true Punisher movie, and a female that directed it said, "This is what I envision the Punisher to be."
This is the movie you're not getting from Marvel anymore.
No,
and probably unless Disney will go bankrupt, I don't think this is the sort of movie we're gonna get in our lifetime anymore.
Oh man. Like I said, I mentioned some of the flaws in it, like the whole middle part with him. I did like when he did go to the house of the slain FBI agent. That even though I didn't like the interaction with the daughter because it didn't feel natural to me. You know, like she was acting all nice to him and stuff, and I was like, that's a stranger. Why are you even acting that way?
I was thinking about that scene yesterday too. Like, I mean, I have to say that they're basically like 3 story strings, and they all go very well together in the end. So it's also like a very well crafted movie and a very well crafted story arc. But I think there was a little bit lazy writing that they forgave. Like, it's like, oh, you killed my husband, but apparently you came along and killed the other bad guy, so everything's fine. So it's like I really think. A widow won't be that forgiving when her husband
exactly that's how I feel with the whole situation. Like that whole confrontation on what's up, Rod? That whole confrontation on the porch where she had the gun on him, and you know it almost evoked the same. And we didn't even talk about it there, but it evoked the same from the first movie when the son of the Italian boss had the gun on Punisher, and Dolph Lundgren got on his knees and said, "You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it to the head." And he took pull trigger, and the son couldn't do it because he had that heart. Here is like Frank wanted to die. Like if you deserve this.
Because he fucked up, and he was like, it's like a fitting punishment.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about the Punisher, that just like the first movie, is like he knows that it's only a matter of time before I die, and he's willing to die because he goes out to war every day. So if he dies, he has no qualms about it. But for that reason there with her, he's like, you deserve this because I messed up. I killed your husband accidentally without even asking and whatever, and you deserve this. If you're gonna do it, do it. And you putting that into somebody's mind, like they don't have that mindset to kill somebody because they know that that's gonna stick with them for the rest of their lives. So I always liked that from the first movie with the kid to this movie with her, is that killing somebody is not an easy thing to do. It's repercussions. You're gonna live with that. So, and she has a daughter, and she told me, I can't find my pen. That kind of killed the mood when she came out. I can't find my pen. I'm like, nah, you just want to interrupt the whole thing. But it just felt like I would have rather the wife made that decision that not do it, as opposed to the daughter coming out and saying something.
But of course, that's very nitpicking. It's like it's an awesome movie. Of course, it has flaws, but in the end, I think for me the main flaw is I think it could have been 10 minutes short. It's 103 minutes, and I think they could have cut out like the church scene in the end.
The church scene was a bit.
It's like they're like a little bit. They're postponing the awesome final battle a little bit too long. I think if this movie would have been done today, not by Disney, of course, I think the final battle would be even better because I think they would have been more inspired by the Raid, like the Netflix series were. So, because it almost felt like when Jigsaw is like getting all the different gangs together of New York, that is like setting the video game like in the first level, second level, third level. And I think that, it was a joy to watch the Punisher slaughtering through all these levels, but I think it could have been done artistically even better.
True. But I do like when Jigsaw gets everybody together and does his little speech with the American flag in the background. I'm like, you sorry bastard. And that's another thing. Jigsaw is portrayed as crazy and stuff. He Dominic West is one of those guys that every show I watch him in, he's either handsome and always fucking women. Like that's his character trait. And he's looking in the mirror, always checking himself and stuff. That's what made the Jigsaw thing so great, is that he's so obsessed with his looks that his face could completely wreck.
Yeah. Then I just want to talk very shortly about the Punisher Netflix series. The most boring Jigsaw, because like when I had of course I watched Punisher Warzone way when it came out, and it's like Jigsaw was so damn well. I wonder how to do it in the Netflix series, and then it's like,
God, like cat scratches. I'm like, are you serious? That's Jigsaw?
Come on, that adds to your character. At worst.
Like a little cat scratch. Like all that shit he went through, like he got fucked up at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking result?
Because I was so hyped for this in the second season. I think I stopped watching the second season after the reveal of this. It's like that's not even a Jigsaw. That's like
just a couple cuts. That's it.
These are laugh marks.
That was massively disappointing. That's what made that second season disappointing for me, because they tried to interject 2 storylines and it didn't connect well.
Yeah.
But Jigsaw in this movie Dominic West was
So
awesome.
awesome, the makeup, and like I said before, the origin when Frank was throwing it into like the bottle crusher, and you saw like all the shards sticking out of his skin, and also the reveal, which felt a little bit like the reveal of Jack Nicholson Joker in Batman '89, and I think it was totally an homage to that scene
Yeah,
when he also killed the doctor with the scissors to the head. That was a very well made origin of a villain.
yeah. And he's not the best, but I love Dominic West. You know, and he did come off cheesy, talking all Italian accent and stuff like that.
Very cheap, but I like Dominic West. I liked it in
Yeah.
300. I mean, I haven't watched The Wire, but you loved The Wire. He was there.
Oh yeah.
But I think you can totally tell that Dominic West was thinking a little bit of like, it's like, oh, it's based on a comic, it has to be a little bit too funny. While Ray Stevenson, added himself a lot of lines from the comics, I heard. Like, he read Stevenson at the comic and said, oh, I want to have this one-liners. Yo, Chaos.
Yo.
Yeah, we like Jigsaw in this movie, especially the origin, the makeup is fantastic.
Jigsaw is the only villain in the comic book that stays alive. Like, he's the only one. Because he's the trademark Punisher villain. You know, when you think of Punisher villains, it's Jigsaw and that's it. Everybody else gets slaughtered.
And a lot of gravestones.
Exactly. That's why, you know, he's an iconic villain for Punisher because, you know, he's over the top. He got all the scars. You know, every time you see him, you know, he's crazy. And you know, they realize that, yo, we need at least one solid villain for the Punisher. And when they created Jigsaw, that was all they needed. You know, this movie also introduced Looney Bin Jim. and I was like, do they need even somebody more crazier than him? This dude wants his applesauce. I want my applesauce.
Oh my god, when he ripped out the heart of the nurse.
I was like, really?
Yeah, and the gore is fantastic in this movie. Absolutely love it. I think you have some CGI blood, but there is a lot of practical gore.
What about the fat dude that got obliterated in the elevator shaft?
Fantastic scene.
Oh my god, man.
And like he was like, I love two Punisher movies. I like some scene of the Thomas Jane Punisher, but I think I would give this like 8.5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and 8 out of 10.
Yep, that sounds right. I would give the first one a 7 out of 10 for me. It's still good, it's still enjoyable, but a lot of flaws, the underutilization of Louis Gossett Jr. And you know, I'm a sucker for the Punisher skull, so no skull, that's a point off for me right there. Thomas Jane, I give a 6.5. It's overly long, has a bland villain, and Thomas Jane is too much of a pretty boy, you know, to really be that tough, gruff man Punisher. But it does have a couple of scenes where it was really good and really violent. The Russian scene, the man with the guitar, you know, and of course when Punisher goes on the killing spree, it's fun. So, and I just give this, this is the highest one, I give it 8.5, just for the over-the-top violence. You know, Ray Stevenson is just, he is the Punisher to me. You know, John Bernthal is good, but if you want to go imposing figures, Ray Stevenson had the imposing figure and the look to capture the Punisher, you know. Plus, he's such a badass that he didn't really take damage in this because he's all padded up. So every time he gets shot, you know, ain't nothing penetrating that bulletproof vest that he's got on. So he came well prepared. He got all his equipment, you know, whereas I felt Bernthal took a lot of damage. There was a lot of times where he was just getting beat the fuck up. And I was like, yeah, it's nice to see Punisher take a loss sometimes, but man, Bernthal was taking losses like crazy. So this is my favorite of the three Punisher movies. I want to watch Warzone again, man.
It's so entertaining for me. And for me, it's always like I want to watch the Dolph Lundgren one again. But I must say, especially in a time now where Disney owns basically everything in this world that isn't DC, uh,
That might
we
come
are
soon. You don't even know, man. It's like, oh shit,
we
Disney
are
owns
very
Superman.
lucky. We are very lucky to have these movies, and we are very lucky to have them in physical form. Get your movies in physical form before Disney puts everything in the vault.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now, I think that even though not a lot of people are talking about the Punisher movies in general, but I think the Punisher is a character that has been very lucky with his movie adaptations so far. So basically, it's been rebooted 2 times, but every movie has. I mean, none of these movies is perfect, but every movie has something that makes it worthwhile and watchable and
yep,
enjoyable most of all. So and not there's not a lot of comic book characters that can say that.
yeah. Because like you said, Punisher is the only one that's been rebooted twice. It has 3 movies. I mean, there's a lot of characters that ain't even got a movie yet. Punisher has 3. So the fact that we was able to do a show talking about all 3 Punisher movies in itself was a good thing.
Yeah, I absolutely love Brian Toll as the Punisher, especially in that context of the story with the PTSD arc.
Yeah,
Fantastic. He's an amazing actor. I think he's the best actor who ever portrayed the Punisher,
true.
for sure. He told like for the choice of the Netflix universe, he was. I think at this point in this age range, there wouldn't have been a better actor to portray the Punisher.
Looking for something that was used that they did in the Netflix Punisher. Yeah, this right here. They did that scene
That scene
perfect.
was so well done. I think this might even be one of the best adapted scenes in comic book history.
Yeah, I I loved that scene in the show. It was so accurate, how they did it, and everything
I
that
agree.
followed it was awesome.
Chaos, I totally agree with that. He would also have been a great Punisher for the movies, and I even think I would have preferred it if it would have done a Punisher movie because I'm not so much of a TV series watcher. I prefer movies uh, because the TV series is always too much of a timely commitment, and the reading pile of my comic books and novels is not really getting any smaller by the day. So it's always. I'm happy when a movie doesn't overstay its welcome and is really told within 90 to 100 minutes. Yeah, The Accountant was a good movie actually. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it. Ben Affleck movie was a really good movie. I was really surprised by it. I also loved that scene when he had the Action Comics #1 in the
yeah.
store.
But yeah, I do think that Bernthal would make a good movie Punisher. But like I said, man, Disney owning everything, and they don't even want to bring back some of the actors from the Netflix
Yeah.
series.
And
And I thought Bernthal and what's his name who played
Charlie Cox.
Daredevil, Charlie
Charlie
Cox.
Cox.
I thought they were perfect as Daredevil and Punisher.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, of course, you can recast everybody, and when the script and everything is well done, you can accept them. But you can't cast anybody who is better as Daredevil than Charlie Cox.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so disappointing. When they did the Netflix series, they said, "Oh, everything is connected." The MCU and the Marvel Netflix shows, they all connected. But then when the Netflix shows ends and what's his name gets full rights to do, they like, "Oh, we're not going to recast those actors because they're part of the Netflix series. They're not part of our series." And I'm like, "Come on, man. I mean, outside of that curly haired fuck who played Iron Fist, he can
Yeah,
go. Like he was the worst of the worst." But Charlie Cox and John Bartholomew, I feel like definitely top 2 to come back to play those characters.
I think once Netflix uses the rights to play them on their stream, or Netflix going to get bankrupt for the shit they're putting on nowadays. I don't even want to talk about that bullshit. I totally think that the Netflix and Marvel stuff will go on Hulu, but there's always this interesting discussion nowadays. I always have with a lot of friends from the movie side I'm writing on, where a friend is always saying, "But when Pulp Fiction came out, Disney owned Miramax, so basically Disney put out rated R content." And I was telling him that was like in another world. Nowadays, with all social media, etc. stuff, back then that was like background information that was not put out there. But nowadays, when they do a Punisher movie and this is a Marvel logo, people, not even when it's a Marvel logo, people know the Punisher, and there will be people that say, "Oh, I thought this is a Marvel movie. I wanted to watch it with my 6-year-old."
I can't stand that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie Cox was amazing in Broadwalk Empire, man. I did that show. That was one of those shows that I watched like every week when it was on HBO.
I haven't seen it.
Definitely check it out if you can.
That's also the problem. Is like it's like every time I have time, I was just rewatching The Sopranos. So,
That's not,
like every time
that's
I have
not a
time
bad thing either.
watch something I already have watched.
The scene in jail where he clears everybody clock. Yep, that was a great one. I also like him and Kingpin together in season 2.
Kingpin was so well cast, and
yeah, I love the development of Kingpin.
no, I don't think so. I think the Netflix they had this in the contract that if I think it runs when the contract runs out that they can allowed to show it. I think the stuff goes back to Disney. I think so, but of course you never know what's with this contract. Not everything gets leaked. The only thing I know for sure is that right now Disney can't use these actors for a certain amount of time. I think it's still a month now, but I think it was like when they canceled it, I think it was 2 or 3 years or something. They weren't allowed to recast these actors as these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with this movie rights, it's very strange. And of course, it's always money talks. Right now, we are in a very interesting phase in movie history because, of course, Disney is losing billions because what was a very big advantage before for them in the old time before the pandemic was that they had parks, which was like a show money thing, and now it's losing them money. So they lost a few $1 billion in the last months, and in the next quarter, they think they will lose even more. My hope, I mean, they will never sell the Marvel characters, never ever. Is like, but my hope is that they at least sell Aliens and Predator. It's my hope.
I thought you was excited for that Predator Iron Man crossover.
I mean, the art alone, of course, they chose like an Iron Man, like a robotic one, so they didn't have a severed skull. It's like, like the art was beautiful. I think it was done by Finch, and Finch is a fantastic artist, so it looked fantastic. But it already had all the red flags.
All the red flags.
All the red flags.
Not just one red flag, multiple red flags.
Could I see Disney doing like a hard PG-13 Punisher on Hulu? I can see that. But I don't think in the end it's going to be something we will be happy about. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Like, this is the things where I would hate being right. But fuck Disney.
Yeah, they buying up a whole lot of shit, man, and I don't even like to hear the talk of them possibly buying DC. I don't even want to see that. That's like
Okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right, Chaos. Like I say, I haven't read these contracts, but I can totally see Disney like giving Netflix the money, especially if everybody that threatens that to cancel Netflix will cancel it now. They would need a lot of money.
yeah. Speaking of the crossover, I had picked up. I know you said you wasn't as big on this, but I had picked this up early in the week.
No, I love this crossover. This is one of my favorite crossovers. And I was very lucky that I, like the moment, I have like all of these in trade, but the moment I heard that they're getting the rights, I was buying one of each from my comic book store for cover price.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Got to have the hard copy, man.
Copies. And especially here in Europe, especially in the German part of Europe, we have this culture of high-end collectible editions. Like this is a media book of the Punisher. You're having the Blu-ray, DVD in there, bonus material, and a booklet. So
they ain't never gonna release an edition of that Punisher in America like that. We ain't never getting that type of collection.
And the crazy thing is, they release these media books often with 2 to 3 variant covers, like with comics. So they have totally figured it out how to get my money. I didn't read Batman TMNT because I like when he does Williams the second, I think, or
Freddie Williams the third.
The third, he does a great job drawing Terminators or Transformers. I love when he draws machines, but I don't like when he draws people. I wasn't a fan of the He-Man Thundercats art. I absolutely love the story, but that's not my biggest issue. I don't like Tinian the Fourth as a writer.
I'm not big on him as well. Like, I've only stuck with Batman just to see how it go out and just to get to 100. But after 100, I'm pretty much done. I just want to say that this is the first time I actually collected an entire series from 1 to 100.
I was like, yeah, it's with CDs and vinyls. I'm pretty much, except for video games, if I play on my Steam account mostly. Like all the other stuff, I love to have in a physical copy. Today, I found something amazing in the wild. I have to show you.
Oh, always like those wild finds.
In the wild, in stereo for €10, which is about $11 or $12. The vinyl Sonia score.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That looks great.
Like I was looking for this like online, too expensive everywhere, and then I find it local for a bargain.
Awesome. That's the thrill of the hunt, man. When you search and search and finally find it at the right price at the right place. So,
but I'm a big advocate for physical media because if something is digital, people can get it away from it. Look at Disney Plus. Like they're censoring The Simpsons with the frame rate.
I do not like that shit at all. Like I saw that when I watched the first couple seasons, like the first season of The Simpsons. I'm like, that's a no for me, man. I couldn't watch it no more.
Yes, or like they did. What's the English name? I think the German name is Meerjungfrauen küssen besser, with the mermaids, where they like photoshopped the hair over the ass so you don't see the ass in the.
Yeah, I don't want to see that, man. Let that shit play out how it originally was intended. But I didn't like when Disney was playing Spider-Man and X-Men, the cartoons. And you noticing all the edits they doing to certain things. I'm like, what the fuck? I know that shit was like in the original. I'm like, what the fuck? They even edited out scenes from Gargoyles on replays. the scene where Elisa got shot by Broadway accidentally. Like, they don't want to show that. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Censorship is the worst. It's like the moment you start censoring art, you are basically abandoning freedom.
Yeah, man.
Art should never be censored. And what's the wonderful thing? Since we have Pope Cerebus here,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, approval is an authoritarian construct.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also a big fan of the bonus material, especially before we have the movie talks. I love to watch the audio commentary on films. You get so much insight, and it's very.
You know how many versions of DVDs and Blu-rays I had of Terminator and Ghostbusters and all that? It's like, y'all keep wanting me to buy new updated versions with new features and shit. I'm like, damn, I got like 5 copies of the first Terminator. What the fuck? Why are you doing this to me? Because y'all know my collective mentality is like, I got to buy this. And I'm trying not to, because I'm like, I already got like 4 versions.
I could fill a shelf with all the versions of Conan the Barbarian and Predator.
It's crazy. It's like certain artists with greatest hits. Like certain of them got like freaking 15, 20 greatest hits compilations. I'm like, fuck. Why don't you just put a mega greatest hits compilation out in one shot? Like,
yeah, it's but also like I think it's I don't know if I think this has been debunked, but there were rumors that Disney is not releasing 4K releases anymore since they wanted to have this all digital. But just in case, get your 4K Alien movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Now it's for sure. I really hope that this whole censorship. I thought it because I think most people just don't care, sadly. But yeah, support physical media. Also with comics, it's if you buy the comics digital, you don't own them. It's like the moment like Comixology ends, those comics are gone.
Yep. Same with Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, it's like a very limited release. So
I remember a guy in a job I worked at. Dude had like multiple hard drives of comics. He was torrenting them. You know, he just torrenting comics from the 50s, golden age, all the way to current. You know, and he just had so many hard drives full of digital comics. You know, like, you torrent those? Like hell yeah, man. You know, I got the whole Action Comics from issue 1 all the way to now. What's up, Mastodon? So I was like, nah. Like, even that could be, like, I talk about running out of space and having physical comics. I don't want to have, like, freaking 15, 20 hard drives full of comics. That's a bit excessive in itself.
Wouldn't that be one wonderful scene? You're basically you're torrenting Punisher comics, reading Punisher comics, and then in the back. Even though I don't think the Punisher will kill you for torrenting comics.
Oh, you gotta come in the real time for that.
He make you eat the hard drive, but I don't think it would kill you.
Yeah. But man, this was fun, man. I know last week I couldn't make it because of the overtime and stuff, but today I was like, that's why when I started watching these movies Wednesday, I was like, or Tuesday, I was like, I can't wait to do this discussion.
Last time I was just doing then quick like comic haul.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk next week about?
What I want to talk next week, you know, anything come to mind, any anniversary or something like that?
I will look it up online and we can decide, maybe beginning of the week.
Trying to think if I want to do another Arnie movie or if I want to do a comedy or something like that.
Comedy, yeah. Deathstalker 2.
I have not seen that, so I know there's a lot of movies that you've watched that I've never seen. So it'd be interesting, if you recommend movies to me that I have to watch, and we definitely check it out.
When you love Sword and Sorcery, you have to watch Deathstalker 2.
Yeah, I'll
You
definitely have to
don't
look it up.
watch the first one. The first one is a really nice movie, but the second one stands on its own.
Awesome, man. It'll definitely be
Watch it and then tell me if you want to talk about it.
Deathstalker 2, huh?
Deathstalker 2. It's brilliant. He's back by popular demand. And a
I'll have to
fantastic
look that up.
Yeah. So great. Then thanks everybody for watching. It was fun talking about the Punisher movies. I'm very glad that these exist, especially the Dolph Lundgren one and the Ray Stevenson one, since we have them here and nobody can take them away from us.
Yep.
Exactly. So thanks, Sean, for joining me. And what do you have a live stream tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll set that up tonight. I'll do a live stream tomorrow. Probably start off with a little tribute to the comic Jabroni. We all give our thoughts and have a little tribute to the Jabroni and Turtles.
Jabroni.
And then we're just gonna have fun. And talk about certain things, whether it's comics and all that. So I'll be back tomorrow though, for sure.
Great. Yeah, I will tomorrow. I will probably shoot a quick review on this wonderful CD, Nemedian Chronicles, French power metal band singing about Conan and Red Sonja. So I'm gonna review this as part of my Savage World of Thorsten series.
Sweet.
Great, and then I hopefully can be in the live chat of your stream when I'm finished.
Sweet. I'll also be on Silver Age Sundays.
Silver Sundays is always fun, but Sunday I have rarely time, sadly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We hope you are going to be here next Friday when we will talk whatever movie we will come up with in the next days.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be back. I always look forward. It's like you get to a rough week, you just want to get to Friday, come home, sleep, wake up, and I immediately talk with my Australian brother, Varangian.
Austria. We don't have kangaroos in Austria, we have cows.
Austrian.
But
yeah, I didn't say Austria. I said Australia. I said Austrian. I try to make sure I don't make that mistake.
It happens so often, and it's very fun because I have relatives in Australia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in Port Macquarie. I wasn't there since 15 years, but yeah, everything is scary in Australia.
I just this is the start of my weekend, just hanging out with you and chatting about movies. Awesome. I always look forward to it, man. And
yeah, me
like
too.
These last few weeks has been so rough, with work, life, and of course the comic Jabroni's passing, untimely passing, and sometimes you just need to just let go and enjoy yourself again.
Exactly, talk about movies, and I also I absolutely love this atmosphere because even though I'm sitting here in the heart of Europe and you're sitting in Florida, in the penis of America, it really feels like you're sitting in the same room, and absolutely love talking to you.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to have you as a friend and co-partner of this show.
Yeah, and I hope the audience has also fun and. Looking forward to see all of you next Friday. Okay, then.
Later, y'all.
Bye-bye.